This section is entitled, Restoring America, How Do We Begin? Part 2. We've been talking together about quotes from famous Americans about their belief that the Christian faith must be involved in shaping matters of public policy. Also, remember what I've been teaching in this seminar. America is government by the consent of the governed. So obviously, Christians have to be involved in order to give their consent. If governments derive their powers from the consent of the governed, then Christians absolutely have to be involved in order to shape government policies with a biblical morality. Now, there is still in the hearts of some Christians in America, unfortunately, the idea that religion, the Christian faith, ought to be totally private, because this totally denies God's call on America to be an example to the rest of the world. Might buy into this idea that you can exercise your Christianity in the closet, but my friends, this leaves society to the devil. And we are in an all-out moral and spiritual civil war for the soul of this nation, my friends. Either we speak up now and get involved and try to change things, or we submit in silence to whatever happens. When are we Christians going to rise up and deal with the mess in our society? Does our state or the federal government have to actually pass hate speech laws such as exist in most universities and colleges in America at this time? Let me ask you a question. What would you have done if we had been members of a Deep South congregation in 1859 with one of the bloodiest civil wars in history rapidly approaching? Would we have spoken out about slavery? Would we have risked our standing in the community, perhaps rejection by our own relatives, our own families, perhaps speaking out even at the risk of our lives? People lost their lives in the Deep South in 1859 for speaking against slavery. Would we have said anything? Or what would we have done if we had been living in Nazi-occupied Poland in 1944, and we knew perfectly well that the Nazi Gestapo was coming in the middle of the night to take our Jewish neighbors away to be incinerated? Would we have said anything? So, my friends, if America is a divine experiment in self-government, then you have to understand something very clearly, and that is that the restoration and renewal that America so desperately needs can never in this country ever come from the top down. In America, it has to come from the bottom up, and that's where you come in. If the churches of Jesus Christ for the last 50 years had been doing what the Bible tells us to do about taking care of the poor, welfare would not have become a big government project. Frankly, we've fallen down on our biblical duties in this country, and that's why we have created the welfare mess. Ben Franklin defines revival for us like this. When the First Great Awakening hit the city of Philadelphia, Ben Franklin said, from being thoughtless or indifferent about religion. Now remember, when the Founding Fathers used the word religion, they meant the Christian faith. They didn't use it generically the way we do today to mean Buddhism or Hinduism or Taoism or Shintoism or Islam or whatever. They meant the Christian faith.